This is Agent Provocateur with Allan Walsh and Adam Wylde.
Welcome to another Agent Provocateur. I'm Allan Walsh with Adam Wylde. Adam, how are you?
I'm fantastic. I'm getting excited for the Olympics, and I know you're going to be there next week, so how are you feeling about it?
I'm looking forward to the Olympics. I'm flying over with my wife on Tuesday, and I'll be there for the first 9 days of the Olympics, all the way through the quarterfinals, and I can't wait to get over there.
And we're going to try to squeak a podcast in while you're over there, too. I don't know how you're going to fit it in with all the games you're going to and trying to enjoy the experience with your wife, but you are the master of time. The way that your schedule is done, Allan, it's crazy. Helps that you don't sleep. Let me ask you this: because a lot of people don't know this about you, you literally don't sleep that much. Like that's just not.
Yeah, I sleep
something
about
you've ever
4 hours a night is my average,
and that's just how you are, right?
Yeah, I've always been like that. And it, you know, everything you read about these days is how unhealthy that is and how important sleep is. But ever since I was, 10, 11, 12, I've only slept 4 hours a night. And I've just always been like that.
And some people are, there's a lot of successful people that are just sort of like that. I think it's probably, we're all different human beings. Another guy that talks about that a lot is Mike Myers. Does not sleep, sleeps 3-4 hours a night, and that's it. Gives you a lot more time to get some work done. Now, we're going to bring on an Olympian today, and I'm very excited that this player is going to be on because this is a guy that I've been crossing my fingers that we would have on for a long time. It's JJ Peterka, and we'll get to him in a few minutes. But I think there's a couple of one thing specifically I wanted to talk about, and I'm going to read your tweet out about this event. And we'll see if anybody listening can decipher which event we're talking about. The Paros Kangaroos are at it again. They are a joke and a disgrace to the game. The NHL is becoming more dangerous than ever, and it is time for people to speak up and protect players' brains. Now, Allan, this is the hit that Sandis Valmons laid on Charlie McAvoy. And it is an unbelievable hit and an unbelievable play because obviously the Bruins reacted negatively. They ended up on I believe it was a 4-on-4 afterwards. So the Bruins didn't even get a power play out of it. No supplemental discipline, was not kicked out of the game. 2-minute penalty for a hit to the head. That's it. What's your reaction?
Fury.
Yeah.
Fury. Disappointment. These hits are becoming commonplace without the NHL doing anything about it. And at the same time that we're seeing these dangerous hits to the head becoming more prevalent than ever in the NHL comes more and more research on CTE that is irrefutable, undeniable, definitive that repetitive blows to the head are a cause of CTE. And we are seeing some of the studies now estimating that as many as 65% of retired players in football and hockey are experiencing some symptoms of CTE that will continue to get more pronounced as players age. And armed with this information, yes, we know Gary Bettman refuses to acknowledge a link between head impacts and CTE, as outrageous as that is. But what we're seeing on the ice now is sort of it's a headshot, but everyone kind of looks the other way. We're seeing some really violent contact to the head that is going unpunished. But what I'm seeing is even more concerning. The people at the forefront of advocating for player safety talked about making all hits to the head a penalty. Mm-hmm. And Ken Dryden was the biggest public advocate of that. Yep. All hits to the head, whether intentional or accidental, should be penalized. The severity of the penalty commensurate with the severity of the hit to the head. Logical, makes sense. Mm-hmm. And while there may be a lot of penalties called initially, player behavior would change very quickly. No one wants to take hits out of the game. Nobody wants to have the NHL become a no-hit league. That's not the discussion. That's not what we're talking about. But players can learn to hit without having the blow go to the head. And that will incrementally make the game safer. And instead, we're seeing more hits to the head and more egregious hits to the head that don't get called.
Yeah. And I, you've been in the game 30 plus years. Okay. And I don't know who was the head of NHL player safety the entire time. I imagine Colin Campbell for a good chunk of it. And then there was Brendan Shanahan.
We had Colin Campbell, then we had Brian Burke, then we had Brendan Shanahan, and George Parros.
Right. And it's obviously more than one person in that department. There are many people that work in that department. Sometimes I wonder if they're watching the games, but I have to ask you, is this the worst you've ever seen it?
It's the worst I've ever seen it in the lack of consistency. Okay. There'll be a blatant headshot and there's a hearing and there's a 3-game suspension. And a couple of nights later, it's the same headshot. It's the same play. Sometimes it's even in the same part of the ice and there's no hearing. Yeah. So what everyone is yearning for is more transparency, but let's have some consistency here. So everybody will know this is not allowed and this kind of hit will result in 2 games. This kind of hit will result in 3 games. This kind of hit will result in more than 5 games. So we all know, especially more importantly than you or me or it's the players. And players, I talk to players every day. No one knows what's a suspension and what isn't a suspension, because you look at some suspensions and you're like, okay, but then the same hits go on every 3 a night and there's nothing.
It seems sometimes to be team and player dependent too, right? There just seems to be, at least that's how it feels to me. I'm not asking you to back that up. It just does feel that way.
It does kind of feel like that sometime. And that's what makes it so infuriating, because if it is, that's really wrong.
Yeah.
If it is. Yeah.
No question. And I want to ask you about something else too. This is something that comes up on the Steve Dangle podcast a lot, and then we'll get to JJ, but I think this is a good time to bring this up. In the NBA, media is allowed to question the officials on controversial calls. They're allowed to ask a question. I was at the time of this recording, we are coming off the final NHL games in the schedule before the Olympic break, and the Panthers had a pretty controversial game in Boston, obviously because of that hit. We're talking about it, and then Tampa and Florida got into it last night too, as they always do.
As they always do.
They always do. They hate each other, and that's good for the game, right? Like it is. But
Montreal, Quebec,
and nobody's
Nordiques.
asking. Yeah, 100%. Nobody's asking for that to go away. By the way, like we all love that. What I want to know is, again, I look at Marco Sturm, who is the coach of the Boston Bruins, and they asked him after the game, "Hey, Marco, like, what did the ref tell you when they gave coincidental minors or whatever it was?" And he's like, "Nothing. They didn't explain anything." Do you think it's the correct policy to keep the media and therefore the fans separate from the officials? Is it right that the officials who determine so much of the game are not accountable to the public for it?
No, and I think that by forcing them to answer questions from the media, it will force them to be more accountable and ref a better game. If they know they're going to be facing the media after a game, I think the game is going to have a better quality to it with regard to the way the referees are calling the game. So many times, I mean, if anybody knew the kind of dialogue that goes on during a game between some of the officials and players, I mean, some of the officials are out of control, and things that they say to the players are way over the line and out of control. But there's no accountability, right?
I think
so a player responds and goes, fuck you. And all of a sudden it's a 10-minute major, right? But misconduct. But what happened in the lead up to that by what the officials were saying to the player?
Right. Well, and that's, the only time we have, as a fan base anywhere, have had any sort of insight into that is the famous Tim Peel hot mic segment, right? The even up call thing. And, he was already retiring and the NHL just said, you made us look bad, so why don't you sit out the last month of your time here? It is so just so we know, and you're kind of telling us it is like that. Is it a power trip thing? Is it a lack of accountability thing? What do people tell you?
I think some officials are incredibly thin-skinned, and they don't have the temperament or patience that they need to have. And based on who might be giving it to them, if it's an established veteran, there's going to be some deference. If it's ever a younger player in the league, they will just throw the book at him because that kind of comeuppance is never tolerated or allowed, because the person happens to be a little bit on the younger side. And that all feeds into the, hockey culture. It's something that we all want to get away from. I don't believe in it. I don't advocate it. And I think that a lot of the players today just want the game to be called fairly. And every player wants the game to be safer. And every player, this is what Gary doesn't understand. And this is why I have such fury about this topic. Players are concerned throughout their career about their brain health. They know what's going on now. There were years and years and years where they were kept in the dark by a league that knew full well, like they do now, how dangerous repetitive blows to the head are. I mean, is it really so revelatory that you hold somebody up and give them repetitive head impacts? We're talking a couple of thousand, that it's not good for their brain? Who would have known? Repetitive impacts to the head impacts, blows to the head, a couple of thousand of them are not good for you. Really?
Yeah.
Is that breaking news? But Gary Bettman continues to deny it. But players are really concerned about their brain health. It is a source of anxiety that rests within every player. A player gets a concussion. A player's had multiple concussions. A player just knows, he got, 5 or 6 big hits in a game against him. And they start thinking about it.
Yeah.
They start thinking and they want to be able to play the game and to play a safer game. And the league really shows a lack of concern for the players' safety when they're done. And
right.
and former players have been cast aside. They haven't been properly taken care of for generations now. And we talk about our hockey heroes. We collected their hockey cards. We got their autographs. We bought memorabilia. We cheered them. We cried for them. And now they're done playing. And many of them, our heroes, are in difficult straits, are struggling. And for years and years and years, the NHL and Gary Bettman turned their backs on these players. And it's certainly, and we've had Glenn Healy on, and we've talked several times about this. There have been inroads made. The new CBA does allow for a way for all retired players to get some kind of health insurance coverage, at least catastrophic care, which is great and a huge step forward. And the NHLPA and the NHL together provided for, it's about $4 million total, $2 million from each side, to get all these retired players covered in some way who did not have coverage. Hundreds of players had no coverage at all. And many of them now, are going to have some kind of, coverage. But for a retired player to stay in the NHLPA, health plan, there's different tiers, but the top tier is about almost $40,000 a year.
Wow.
Right. That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
You got to pay that every year forever. And if you fall out of the plan, because you come on some financial issues or you're between jobs, and you fall out of the plan, you can never get back in it. Ever.
Yeah. Which is crazy. That's crazy.
Which is crazy. So we can talk about this for hours. I just think that, to sum up, the players yearn for a safer game. And in many ways, there is a total lack of concern for their own safety and their futures from the top people in the league. And that brings a fury in me that is there every day. Some days I can control it and some days I can't.
Allan, we appreciate your passion on it, and it's nice to hear somebody inside the game feed us a little bit of that, because you just don't know, right? You don't hear that stuff. Now, time to get to our Olympian and your client.
Yes,
JJ Peterka.
Noted client.
That's right. Let's do it.
All right, let me introduce him. Our client, our guest today, before the Olympic break, the Olympics get started, is noted client JJ Peterka. I've been working with JJ now for 3 years. He has 3 consecutive 20-goal seasons, scoring 28 goals, 27 goals, and just hit the 20-goal plateau this past week. He is off to Milan tomorrow on the NHL charter with Team Germany to play in the Olympics. We'll talk to him about his upcoming Olympic experience, what he's looking for. We'll talk a little bit about his background, being born and raised in Munich. So without further ado, let's bring on noted client JJ Peterka. So here we are with noted client JJ Peterka. JJ, where are you today and how are you doing?
How's it going? I'm in New York at the airport hotel, waiting to jump on my flight to Milan.
So you are off to Milan tomorrow night?
Yeah, that's right. I think it's 8:40 or something like that.
And it's the NHL charter?
It's the NHL charter, yeah.
Okay. So NHL players have not been to the Olympics since 2014. How do you feel about going to play in your first Olympics?
Yeah, just super excited. I feel like always watching it as a kid, growing up, seeing all the memories and all that stuff, and then not being able to, for the last Olympics. Yeah, kind of sucked. So the excitement is even bigger this year to finally be able to do it.
Now, some people may not know, but a couple of years ago, you played for Germany in the World Championships and had a tournament for the ages. You were the MVP forward of the tournament. Tell us a little bit about that experience.
I think that year was just crazy. I think we started the tournament with 3 losses, played against some really good nations, and kind of had the backs to the wall. Another loss would have meant we wouldn't even made it to the quarters. So just playing from there, getting better and better every game, and then all of a sudden you get momentum. Beat the Swiss in a really good game in the quarters. Had an epic semi-final against the US. Won the game in OT, which was crazy feeling. I feel like until today I can't even describe what it was. It was I just couldn't believe it. And then sadly lost to Canada in the finals, but overall I think it was just such a memorable tournament for all of us.
So I know you to be incredibly competitive and you just hate to lose. Tell us a little bit about this season and being in Utah your first year, being in Salt Lake. What's it like sitting in the standings right now in a playoff position?
Well, coming there, obviously, I was super excited. I think everyone's seen the practice facility by now, and how much effort and stuff ownership put in Utah is just simply incredible. What they just provide us with. So getting there, first of all, just super exciting. And season overall, I think has been good. I think we had little ups and downs. We had some good win streaks. Then some parts where we didn't play our best hockey, but at the end of the day, going in the break right now, we're sitting in a playoff spot, and that's kind of where I wanted to be.
So let's talk a little bit about how you got into hockey in the first place. There are some German players in the NHL, but hockey is certainly not what Germany is known for as the most popular sport in the country. Were you playing other sports, and how did you end up settling on hockey?
I did play other sports. I did play soccer, and I did short track, speed skating. But how I got into hockey was my family, my parents would always take me just for public skates. And in one of those, when we got off, the hockey players got on afterwards, and I was, 3 or 4 years old at that time, and I just saw them, and I was like, I want to try that. I saw the gear, I saw everything. It looked so exciting. So said to my parents, I want to try this one. And then, since then, kind of like stick to it.
Now, what other sports were you playing in your youth? Because I understand there was a time where you had to make a decision between one sport and hockey.
Yeah, like probably the same time as I started hockey, I did start soccer and also speed skating. Speed skating was kind of easy back then because it was always after hockey. So I was just getting rid of my gear, leaving the skates on, and I was always the one with the short steels. The other ones had like the advanced ones. They kind of like had an advantage too, I feel like, but I always stick to my hockey skates. So that was easy, and then soccer as well, which was a little bit harder to coordinate because it was at a different spot and with all the driving back and forth, but I still managed to do that a lot as well. And obviously on the weekends, a lot of times played hockey and soccer on the same day, which is, when I think back right now, pretty crazy. I feel like as a kid, you have like way more endurance. I don't know, but that was always the case. Whenever I had the chance, I did both on the same day. And then I think I was around like maybe 10 or 11 years old, where hockey was like 4 days a week, maybe practice. And like I had to take a decision, what I'm going to do moving forward. And, like since being a kid, hockey was always like the one sport I picked whenever it was at the same time. So, it was kind of like an easy decision for me then.
Now, your hometown is you were born and raised in Munich, and right now you live in a town close to Munich. I was there and visited with you this past summer with you and your family for the day. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the project you got going on next to your house?
Yeah, exactly. Next to the house, there's a hockey rink right now in progress. The ice is finally there. The boards are there right now, so it's getting closer.
That you're building.
Closer. Exactly. It's a project my parents and me started maybe 3 years ago when my parents bought the house and we saw like the big warehouse right attached to it. And for me growing up, it was kind of always a dream to have my own hockey rink. So when we saw that, we kind of just figured out that would be the perfect spot. So it's around like one zone from the size wise. So small area games. It's like 3-on-3 hockey. Rink where just people can book themselves in, have training sessions, do some extra work, and which I think is incredibly beneficial, especially in summer, because just knowing like when you want to go on the ice in summer in Germany, it's super hard. When I was younger, my parents would always drive me to Czech Republic. It's like a 3-hour, 4-hour drive, just for me to skate there. And I feel like having that now super close to Munich, just giving the chance to younger kids that are really good at the sport but want to get better and better, and also want to use the summer especially to go on the ice and work on stuff, kind of like trying to help them out a lot.
Give us some of the details of the rink and what's all going to be included in and around the rink that you're putting together.
Oh, it's going to be like a room for physio, for trainers. There's going to be a gym attached to it. It's going to be a cafe on top where parents can sit, watch their kids practice and work out. So it's supposed to be a big like facility, sports facility where people come and get better. That's the overall goal, and that's what we're trying to achieve there.
Yeah. So when I was there in the summer and you and your dad gave me a tour, I was blown away by the detail and the thought that went into what you're building. And when I was there, I'd say it was about 50% built. You've been working on it for a while, and when do you think it's going to be ready?
The opening is, I think, in June. Right now, like I said, like the boards are already there. The ice is already there. Nobody stepped on the ice yet, but I think it's going to happen in the next few weeks. So yeah, I'm pretty confident that this summer, the grand opening is going to be there, and from there on, people can skate there.
That's pretty amazing.
Pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's awesome. That's awesome. Hey,
Adam?
JJ, I have a lot of questions, but one of the things that you kind of mentioned there, I was going to ask you about is finding ice time, right? In a country where hockey isn't the number one sport. I'm looking at the top German players of all time. I don't know if you know this. You're number 10 in all German NHL scoring all time, just behind Moritz Seider and then guys like Marcel Gock and Dennis Seidenberg and Uwe Krupp and Christian Ehrhoff. I'm wondering, as a German hockey player, who did you look up to growing up? Was it your local teams? Did you have any sense of the NHL? Were you able to watch it much? Like, who was your idol?
No, like growing up, I would always go with my parents in the stands in Munich, so the local team there, which I was playing the second league back then. We would always be right in the section where the fans are just yelling and shouting. So that was
standing
always
all game?
super excited. Yeah, definitely standing all game. I was also one of those kids that were like skating onto the ice with the pros. So I was super
cool.
pumped to do that always. Always a cool experience for me. But then, yeah, just when I was younger, just kind of like watching Munich. I wasn't really watching much in the US or overseas, so I always had like one player or two players from the Munich Red Bull or like from the Munich team that I idolized and kind of like looked up to.
And
when did you?
Oh, sorry.
When
go ahead,
did you
Allan.
When did you first start to think that maybe I can have an NHL career here?
Well, obviously the goal was as soon as I like started looking overseas, watching games. I was a big Chicago Blackhawks fan back then, especially watching Patrick Kane and their success there. But I feel like since like watching the NHL, it was always a dream. But maybe when I was in Salzburg with like 14, 15, 16, playing in the Czech league back then, competing against really good players back then. I think that was the moment where I like realized maybe that could be something. And then I think all the international tournaments helped, like the U18 championships, and then especially the World Juniors, where you legit played against the best of best your age. Kind of gave me like a feeling that I can have an NHL career.
And you played for Munich, didn't you?
Yeah, that was probably one of the.
So you already got to play for your childhood team, which is pretty cool.
That was probably one of the coolest things ever. Like the first time stepping on the ice for warm-ups, because even in warm-ups you have those big crowds already. They sing the chants and stuff already for warm-ups. So I think just like playing for my hometown team, like I've been growing up just watching them all the time, and then having the chance to finally play for them was super special for me.
And I want to ask you about just German hockey in general, because one thing that's become super clear, like for me growing up, and I'm probably 10, 12 years older than you are, Germany was not a team that factored in the way that it does now. The German program has grown a lot and produced players like yourself, Leon Draisaitl, like just unbelievable talent coming out recently. What do you think's changed? Like what is it about the German program where it's been able to move so quickly and develop so many great players like yourself?
Well, I think just like the recent success kind of gets more people into hockey, and I think especially coaches try to learn the game more, try to get more experience, and I feel like just like spend more hours to teach themselves better stuff. So I think overall, just because Germany is doing better lately in like those international tournaments. Gets like more people to watch it, gets like more people to get involved at the end of the day. I think that's the main reason.
That's pretty cool. Allan.
So what do you like? Tell us a little bit about JJ Peterka off the ice. What are your interests away from hockey when you're not playing the game?
Well, a lot of sports, I feel like. Since growing up, sport was always my number one thing. Especially like last probably like 2 years, I get really, really big into tennis. Watched the US Open this year. I was probably one of the coolest experiences I had. Then obviously soccer. Since playing it, growing up in Munich, I'm a big Bayern Munich supporter, Bayern Munich fan. Always watch those games whenever I can, especially when I'm back home. Yeah, I think just overall super interested in several sports. Like to play myself as well. But what else is out there? Let's see.
What kind of music do you like?
I like house music. I also started to DJ a little bit, which is super fun.
What's your DJ name?
It's Turks. It's a T-E-R-K-S.
Oh, I like that. What does that mean, or does it have a meaning?
No, like people started calling me Turks a little bit as like a nickname from Peterka. So I kind of like had to come up with something at some point when I was playing a small gig back home in Munich this summer. I had to come up with a name, and that's like the first thing that popped up in my head. So I was writing with that since then.
And how many times have you done that?
Well, probably like 3 times.
What's it like?
It's been fun though. It's so much fun, but I can't even tell you how nervous I was doing that for the first time. having like 100 people in front of you, and it like depends what you do now. So I was definitely way more nervous than playing hockey. Like overall,
you do crazy. Realize you play hockey in front of 18, 19,000 people.
That's legit what people were telling me as well. I should just relax. But I think it's just so different. And when I play hockey, I'm like so zoomed out. I'm like just like worried about the game. And then when I'm like DJing, it's a little different. But I feel like it got better and better the more I played, the more comfortable I got as well. But yeah, like overall, it's super fun. I mean, you can play the tracks you like. You can kind of like see how the crowd reacts to the stuff you play, and kind of like play with it. So will you, when you're putting your playlist together, see what the crowd is doing and decide on the fly what the next song is going to be? Yeah, mainly. So I put like, I don't know, always depends how long I play for. But I put a bunch of songs like in a playlist, and then just see what kind of type of house music the crowd likes, or like what gets the people dancing a little bit, and like stick like to the same things then. Is this American house music? Is it European? It's like Afro house music. I think like producers are all over the world. That's like the main genre. I'm playing. I think more European producers out there, but I'll get my songs from basically everywhere.
Do you get to control the music at all in the dressing room? Like, do you ever introduce the guys? Because I know that's like a thing. Somebody's got control of the stereo before the game. Is that ever you? Well, they all know that I DJ. They want to see DJ Turk sometimes out there. But I feel like our locker room listens a little bit too much to rap, so I'm staying in the background, and I'm there if the crowd needs me. You should you and Mika Zibanejad should link up this summer and go on tour, do an NHL DJs tour, because he does it too.
Yeah, I saw that, and he's playing in front of way bigger crowds, so that must be pretty exciting.
Everybody starts
he's in front of like 1,000 people, right? 1,000, 1,500 people. He's
crazy,
going.
Yeah, it is crazy.
Yeah, do you want to do that? Is that like what you'd like to do in the future?
I would love that. I think would be great. Like I said, it's so much fun already playing in front smaller crowds or even my buddies. That's where it all started. Just playing in front of my buddies, having a good time, and then hopefully getting bigger and bigger.
Okay. Well, there are really very few people who've come into the NHL and have had the success that you've had. 3 now consecutive seasons of 20 plus goals. 3 years ago, you had 28 goals and 27 goals. This year, you just hit the 20 goal milestone, which is pretty incredible at your age to have 3 consecutive 20 goal seasons. And you're on pace right now for 34. What's your secret sauce for scoring goals?
That's a good question. I don't even know. I think just trying to be in the right spot. And I feel like just over summer and like in practice, working a lot on my finishing, all sorts of different shots, different angles that when a chance comes in a game that you're kind of prepared for it, that you've done it enough times that you're confident to put the puck in the net. I feel like that's what always helped me. But obviously just enjoying scoring goals. I think that's the number one thing. Always hungry to score those goals. I feel that's the secret sauce or whatever you want to call it.
Because you scored a lot of goals from really sharp angles. And I've always wondered, I've never asked you, but I've always wondered, is that something that you work on? Because you've literally scored several goals from just above the goal line, almost in the corner, where there's literally, I mean, I don't know how you find net, but you're able to get it just under the bar. That can't be an accident.
Well,
and if it is, don't admit it.
No. In practice, not gonna lie, it's kind of hard to work on that kind of stuff because you got a goalie in that, and you don't want to be the guy just shooting the goalie 15 times in the head in practice. But when the net's empty, kind of like just trying to hit the net from there. And I feel like especially in games, goalies don't really expect it. There's always a bigger hole than you think at the end of the day. Just kind of like aiming for the head, and they usually bank it in themselves.
Bullseye.
We know you're a headhunter now. Okay, this is good to know. Do you think that there is something that you've picked up that you've learned throughout the first few years of your career? Because one of the things about goal scorers is there are times when you're scoring goals and you feel good, and then when a goal scorer isn't scoring, it's like it's the worst feeling in the world from what it's been described to me. Like they can't think of anything else. How do you get through periods where it's just not going in as easier?
Well, it's not easy. Allan always keeps telling me just shoot the puck. I remember those conversations we always have when I'm telling him I just can't score, and he's like, just keep shooting the puck. And I feel like that's the secret behind it. Just stick to it. Sometimes just goals come in bunches. Like they'll just go in when you like think about it afterwards, and you can't believe those shots went in. And then sometimes it's like you had like a really good shot and the goalie made like a crazy save, or there's like a defender stopping it or something like that. So I think don't be like too focused on like at the end of the day if it goes in or not. Just be focused on like shooting a lot, creating those chances, and I feel like just focus on the things you can control. And especially with creating chances and shooting a lot of pucks, that's things I can control. So just sticking to that, and then hoping things go in.
So you were part of what I consider to be one of the great pictures of the year of the hockey season, which is very early in the year. You scored this incredible goal, and you got your arms raised up. You're on one leg. You're heading towards the glass, and there's your owner in the front row, standing up with his arms raised in the air with this incredible yell coming out of his mouth. And you guys are right in front of each other. It got a lot of publicity. The photo went everywhere. Did you ever talk to your owner about that?
No, we never talked about that. To be fair, too, I didn't even know that he was sitting there. It was my first home game. First home game at Delta Center, and like after Sally, I figured that was just him at the glass, like banging the glass. Like it was simply incredible. No, I think just looking back, such a great moment. I think for both of us, and yeah, super cool photo they captured there for sure.
Tell us a little bit about Ryan Smith and his commitment to the team, and how that impacts all the players and how they approach the game.
Yeah, I think the best example is that he's not sitting somewhere in a box or something. He's sitting legit right at the glass, supporting from down low there, which is as a player, it's awesome to see how invested he is. And then I think just with what he's built over the last like 2 years in Utah now. With the practice facility, with the renovation from the Delta Center, that the lower bowl got fully fixed. Like how much they did there, and how much effort they also put in just to grow hockey in Utah, to get the Utah hockey community bigger. Yeah, it's just super impressive. And I mean, as a player, I feel like that's all you're asking for when you see an owner who is saying he does that stuff, and at the end of the day does it in like super quick time as well. Yeah, just gives you as a player, yeah, just a green light to go and try your best as well. And
so I was in Utah earlier this year, and I got a tour of the practice facility. It was literally, there was still construction going on in various little places, but it was, for the hockey area, it was fully up and running. It was the nicest and most advanced practice facility that I've ever toured, that I've ever seen. And in my opinion, and I've been to probably every practice rink in the NHL, it was the nicest practice rink in the entire league. Why don't you tell us a little bit about some of the things in this incredible facility that make it so special?
Yeah, I think, like you said, like I haven't been to too many practice facilities yet, but I've just seen a few. But I think that one is definitely, it's got to be up there. Just with what we have, like a huge gym, shooting room there, a big recovery room. Infrared, then we have like, I don't even know what you call that. You just lay in there and you can press a button and you just float for however long you want. So that's pretty cool. One thing I like a lot as well with the 2 ice sheets we have, that when we have longer practice sessions, we switch sheets. So we do 2 or 3 drills on one and then the rest on the other one. Kind of like have the ice fresh, keeps the quality probably a little bit higher. So I think that, and like skill sessions we have before practices. I think we have everything we could literally ask for.
Yeah. Now we talked a little bit about the Olympics. Germany plays Denmark, then Latvia, and then I think your third game is against USA. Your first 2 games are in the Row Arena, and then the USA game is in the new arena, that's been in the news a lot for the last year and a half, as I think construction is still going on as we speak, as they put the last
Yes.
little finishing touches on the arena. What's the one thing you're looking forward to most about going over to the Olympics?
I think just exploring, or like getting the experience from like the Olympic feeling, being in the village, seeing all the other athletes, different sports, And I think just being an Olympic athlete, I think that's when I was talking to guys that's been there before. That's one thing they always say, like how special that is, being around all the athletes there, watching them, how they prepare, how they treat themselves. So I think just kind of like experiencing all that definitely is going to be super special.
And you got any family coming over to see you?
Yeah, well, since Germany is not too far, my parents are coming, my grandma is coming, my uncle is coming. So yeah, I got a few people supporting me, which is going to be super cool, super exciting.
Your agent is coming?
My agent is coming as well. There you go.
Agent / therapist, right?
Adam,
what do you think it's going to be like for your I don't know if your grandmother was a hockey fan at all. What do you think it's going to be like for her in there? Has she been over to North America to see you? Like, this seems like it's pretty special.
Yeah, my grandmother has been here 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
A big family trip. All both my siblings came over and my grandma.
Yeah, she did an NHL tour.
Exactly. I don't even remember. I think they went to Denver, Vegas, so they had actually a pretty good experience as well, city-wise. So she's been there, but I think watching the Olympics will be also super special for her, definitely.
You know, one of the things I always talk to Allan about, or I ask him about, is because he's got a lot of clients from Europe and Czech specifically. You know, one of the things we talked about was when the Czechs won the World Championship a couple of springs ago, how massive it was. And Allan was also talking about when the Czech team with Dominik Hasek won in Nagano in 1998, which I hate to mention this, but it was before you were born. I can't believe that. It just kills me, man. It kills me. But I want to know, as a fan of international sport, which you are, somebody who grew up in Europe, which you did, international tournaments like this are so much more normal in every other sport. And the countries are a lot smaller in Europe too, so you guys are all close by and all play each other. Can you tell me about how special it is to represent your country at something like this? Because it is, it's been a long, long time since we've seen this. What does it mean to you?
Well, I think that's like internationally, it's going to be the biggest stage I've ever been a part of or ever played in. Like thinking back of like World Championships and stuff, how cool it always was, because you got like a whole section of German fans. They travel there, they bring the drums, and you're like just one nation together there, playing kind of like playing for each other, and just knowing like all my buddies, like all my friends from back home watch it, support. You got like public viewing and stuff like in Germany, where people watch it and cheer for us. I think that just brings a country so much closer together, and being one of the athletes those people watch and cheer for is just a super honor.
This is my 31st year in the business, and when I first started going over to Europe and my first few World Championships, I was completely blown away. Here's people painting their face, banging drums the entire game, chanting, singing, literally jumping up and down, waving flags, and you're watching this, and my first thought, I was stunned, right? Mm-hmm. The amount of emotion coming from the crowd during the chants and the drums and the singing, and it's all coordinated. A lot of it's coordinated. Like this goes on all game. To me, it's so exciting to watch the game with that atmosphere around it in the arena. It's something that the NHL has always lacked. Mm. And I never understood why. And I've said this before, even recently, in an NHL arena, It's loud rock music and Beastie Boys in between stoppages of play and TV timeouts. And the fans are, I mean, you can't even talk to the person next to you a lot of the time, right? The music is so loud. And I don't know why they don't look at this European experience and bring that more to watching NHL games. Just think a European soccer match in an NHL arena during a big game. And that's where I think the NHL has really dropped the ball in growing the game. Because if going to a game is ever as much fun as it is going to a European soccer match, which is an event in and of itself, or a world championship game in hockey, which is an event in and of itself. And I think you'll see a lot of this in the Olympics, given the location and the fact that fans from Czech Republic are coming, fans from Germany are coming, fans from Sweden are coming, fans from Finland are coming. And these arenas are going to be full of locals, you know, into the game and going through that experience. The NHL would be far further ahead in the fan experience department than it is right now.
JJ, maybe you can bring that to Utah. Get a supporter section, get the drums going, that whole thing. I mean, listen, the amazing thing about where you're at is it's somewhat still a blank slate. Like you could, you know, I mean, it would be very cool to see a supporter section in there. I'm curious, to back up Allan's point, what should we expect from the German fans? Like, what are German fans known for?
Known for being loud. That's for sure. Okay. I think having pretty cool chants always going on, jumping, yelling around, and I think always supporting. I think that was the last championships. You always had like a whole section where all the German fans were. They always bring the drums and have a good time and be like really supportive, especially in like clutch moments. Just being loud, pushing the team.
Can you hear them when you're on the ice? Like when you were playing for Munich, could you hear them? Did it amp you up?
Oh, 100%. And especially when you're like sitting on a bench, like it's just cool, like watching them as well when they like start jumping around and stuff. It's just like super exciting even when you're playing.
That's cool. Very cool.
Yeah. Well, JJ, you've been very generous with your time. I know you're in New York City, going to go hang out with some guys, go get a great dinner tonight, and get ready for the charter flight over to Milan. I'll be over there Wednesday afternoon. Your first game is Thursday. I'll be at that game. I look forward to seeing you over there. I look forward to seeing your family over there. And I wish you a great Olympics. And thank you very much for sharing some time with us today.
Yeah, thanks guys for having me.
This has been Agent Provocateur with Allan Walsh and Adam Wylde. Follow Allan Walsh on Twitter @WalshA. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts by searching Agent Provocateur and hitting the subscribe button. YouTube.com/SDPN.